We're here in the THP Tech Studio, and we've seen a lot of conversation so far with Titleist new irons. A lot of it has focused on the T100 and the T100S. But James, this really is a complete lineup with the T200 and the T300, so let's take a look at those.
Yeah, maybe the most interesting story is the 200 and the 300 and what they've done, not just tech-wise, but visually. I mean, obviously the 200, which you can see here, are going to be the smaller profiled irons. They're going to kind of fit that, that player's distance iron that's become such a popular category right now. Whereas the T300 is all about maximizing forgiveness and launch and playability.
And a lot more visual tech, because you can see the max impact located here, which you can find on the 4 through 7, right?
Absolutely. And the big thing that they did that was really nice and has gotten some really good feedback for Titleist this year was in the 300 they left all of that tech visible. That type of golfer traditionally likes to show, you know, I'm playing a forgiving iron, I know what I need to play, and I want to show off everything inside of it. Whereas the 200 this year looks totally different than the last T-Series and what we saw, where all that was still visible. This is the type of player that wants to play a smaller iron but knows they probably shouldn't.
And in the bag, it's going to look more like a blade because of the badging on the back. Everything, like say, it's a hollow body construction. Everything's enclosed inside. And that plate also is going to play a role in the sound.
Absolutely. And they're still using max impact technology in the longer irons. It's just hidden now. So you kind of get that feel like you're playing a muscle back when you pull it out of the bag, but it's nowhere near that. You're still going to get the launch you need. You're still going to get the forgiveness and the distance based on the lofts.
And the distance. And the lofts they're similar as you get towards the wedges, but in the longer irons, there's about a 2-degree difference throughout.
Yep, and with that, obviously, as you get into it, they're offering additional wedges to kind of complete it, because the story always goes, people worry about their gapping. You may need it, you may not need it. It's there as an option, and that's a nice thing to see from Titleist.
Yeah, so we see some clubs actually with the loft stamped on it. You have the P43 and a P48.
Correct, and that's a different thing from what a lot of people are doing, but it's becoming patently Titleist. One of the interesting things is going to be the feedback on these whenever they're hit. So I believe we're going to go to Dan and let him take some swings at the 200 and 300 and get some data.
Hey, welcome to the Hitting Bay. Dan here, hanging out with Dean, talking about T200 and T300 from Titleist, as you can see in my hand. Dean, what do you think? Should we start with T200?
I think we start with the 200. After that tech breakdown that we just had with James, let's see what you can do with them.
I don't know what happened to James, but I'm here hitting now. Let's grab 200. And what do you think? A few shots, maybe three to five. We actually need to talk a little bit about shafts before we get into it too much. We have True Temper's anti-black here in the T200, and we're actually using Titleist's Left Dash, Pro V1 Left Dash, which I'm sort of excited about. It's one of my preferred between that Navy X.
And for you, we get 7-iron in hand, and we set the pin out there at 190.
Aggressively at 190, no pressure, right? Well, I swung like I had to get there. Thank goodness we have to hit more than one shot here. I don't really know what my window is right now for a 7-iron. I would say chasing 190 is probably pretty fair. But what do you know, Dean, about the overall profile from the T200? We've seen it in the past. How much has it changed, and what should I expect here?
It looks a lot better visually, especially from the top, and the back end with everything enclosed in, more hollow body design, much more streamlined look. People are going to look at them and think you've got kind of a set of blades in the bag. So I think that's the presentation they were looking for.
So I have a little bit of a thought on that, because we have seen T200 change from presentation perspective, and I'm definitely just walking through a fairly good shot here. So I look at this and I think something totally different. I thought they killed it with the cavity profile by putting that TP over top and creating that full finish. I think that's something a lot of golfers are flocking to right now. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, I think it's a very hot look in the industry right now.
Hot look.
Hot look.
All right, cool.
That's my hot take.
Yeah. Well, Dean's hot take. First time here in the studio. We'll hit at least a couple more. That was a pretty good one. I'm going to try and start one a little bit right and bring it over. Just see from a pure workability standpoint. Yeah.
Fancy little draw.
So it's not drawn super hard. I like the profile overall. I'm more of like a player iron kind of guy. I always end up in some sort of CB profile, Dean. I'm not a worker of the golf ball. I'm a straight line, every time try guy. and whatever happens, happens. That did turn over a bit though.
You know, I'll tell you what, and we'll look at it in table view later, but the consistency of the distance in those three, they're
Yeah.
pretty much within a yard of each other
Yeah.
in terms of total distance.
True. Okay. And I did hit that one a little bit heavier than I usually would. Definitely felt it in the hands here.
I think it's fair to say the 190 was a good number.
Yeah, not bad for a 7. I hit my little fade. There we go.
There you go.
Perfect. So there is some workability characteristics. That was kind of more of a down the line turnover. Maybe I try and hit one more sweeping draw or something like that, even if we get rid of it in the data later, just to see pure workability. What do you think?
I like it.
Okay, let's do that. Any other thoughts from you on T200 overall?
T2, I think the overall package of it is very appealing. You know, a player like me, that mid-handicap range that wants a club that looks really streamlined, this is something I would flock to.
That was my get after it ball, Dean. And yeah, I like the way it. Yeah, well, there you go.
Yeah.
There's the number
you
right
got
there.
after that one a little bit.
Yeah, I'm pretty impressed. I think this is an improvement overall from the last T200. I could definitely see the appeal on these. I think we need to go hit T3 and then maybe draw some comparisons between the two.
Okay, let's get you loaded up for the T300.
Awesome. So Dean, I have T300. We have something going on here, and I know it's not all the way through the set. I think before we even get started on the swings, I want to know, do we have MI in the cavity?
That stands for max impact. So
Okay.
it's going to help you get a little more ball speed. It helps with some weight distribution as well. And you should get more distance out of this club than the next one's about 2 degrees stronger.
Okay.
Going off of my memory.
Yeah.
So we're still going to use that 190 flag, but I would expect these to fly a little bit farther.
Well, don't get me too set up here before I hit, man. Let's rip a few and talk. So we did change from AMT black to AMT red, which obviously is not the greatest option for me, but from a pure, if you are sort of maximizing that launch perspective, I can see why there's an appeal for that red as a primary shaft option.
Yeah, and T300, it's meant to launch the ball high. It's meant to go far. And it's meant to be forgiving. I'm guessing when you look down at the profile, you see some differences down
Yeah,
there.
there's a bit more depth. Definitely not. We're still talking about a relatively small iron profile when it comes to something with this kind of activity in the cavity, and I think that's typically what the T series iron guy is looking for from Titleist. So yeah, let's keep going. Carries 193 on that one. And this will be a good one to talk about, Dean, because this was a little bit low on the head, a little bit pulley. Definitely not my perfect strike, but this is where I think T300 is going to really support those players, especially in the longer irons. Is that fair?
Yeah, you still got plenty of launch on that and a lot of carry. So even on a slight mishit, still plenty of performance to be happy with.
A fair bit of carry on that one, yeah. Again, we're hitting 7 irons today. What surprised me about that is the backspin increased, even though it was a little bit lower on the face, but it wasn't anything like unreasonable, you know? Well, I need to talk about something really quick. I know there's this depth in the head that's
Yep.
showing here. You have this visual technology. It's a little bit different from the last iteration. When I hit that one right there, that felt very flush, hard. It gives you a feeling of impact that you definitely are looking for when you're having an experience with an iron that has technology built into it. I think that's pretty fair, right?
I think that's more than fair. And you know, you talk about that feel. A lot of feel is sound. So when you hit a ball like that, everything kind of clicks.
Yeah.
It sounds good. It feels good. And everybody around you is like, whoa, what was that?
Yeah, and again, we're hitting Pro V1X left dash, which is a nice option for me. Those kind of numbers, and I'm assuming when we go to look at P-Kite, it's getting up there pretty good, but the carry's awesome. I like that in an iron like this, there's that feeling of, oh, I just hit that. Still, you recognize that even with a more forgiving iron. I mean, obviously the numbers are close in the overall total. I think we'll see a bit of a difference in the carry, but man, that one felt really good when I hit it. Okay, we have a toe miss, a little heavy. Let's see where this goes, because I'm assuming there's going to be a ball speed drop. Not super happy that I did this on camera, but here we are.
No, but it tells a good story. Like, it held the line pretty well too.
Yeah. Yeah, we lost a lot on that one. That's fine. I say we hit at least one more
Yeah, let's hit one more.
and see, is there anything you want me to try and do here?
You know what? No, I got a question for you though, Dan.
Yeah.
For an iron like T300, is it something that you would ever consider putting in like a 4-iron in the bag? Because I know you do hit,
Yeah.
you do hit that style, not a game improvement style
Yeah.
club, but you know you do hit those utilities and driving irons.
Well-
something that can launch high like that, that's going to be forgiving. Would that be appealing to a player like you?
Yeah, I'd say in fairness, definitely. And you said maybe not game improvement. I have had game improvement irons in the 4-iron in the bag. So between the utility irons as an option, but also these types of irons, I'm definitely looking for this package in a 4. I want something that just goes and I don't have to think too hard about.
Keep
Yeah.
it simple, right?
Exactly. Well, another little heavy strike, but it's a good opportunity to talk about the sole profile overall. Ball speed might not be compared to the one I hit really flush, but I definitely see that overall numbers are still very, very relevant there. Spins down a little bit, which is not surprising because it's a little bit higher on the head, I would say. Give me a chance to hit one more. Let's see if I can hit one more good one.
Yeah,
Then we'll go to
pressure's
table
on.
view. Yeah, no kidding. See what we can do.
We're running out of tape.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that one. I wanted to get one a little bit lower in the head again and with a little bit of a fade. Obviously, that's presented here to see some of the spin numbers. What I really want to do, Dean, is go to table view and see how high these are going, because I feel like they're promoting a little bit better launch than 2. We could draw comparisons to 2 and give people out there an idea what they can expect when they go hit these side by side.
Yeah, I would imagine a little bit of difference in launch and spin. So let's check it out.
Sounds good. As promised, here we are on table view. One thing I want to ask everyone out there before we get into the data here is, are these the results you had anticipated? And if they are, which iron are you more inclined now to go hit and experience for yourself? Give us some information in the comments, what kind of player you are and what you want to go and hit for yourself. And then right now, I think, Dean, the best thing we can do is talk through this data a little bit. Looking at this comparison view, you don't get a couple elements we can talk through, but does this surprise you? We have a little bit more ball speed off T3, a little bit less spin, a little bit more carry.
That's actually kind of what you would expect, you know, with a repeatable swing going from a T200 to a T300, that technology is going to kind of shine through. And I think it does here. It really tells the story. The ball speed on the T300, we got, what, 3 miles per hour faster than the T200. That's pretty impressive right there. And the launch, even though there's stronger lofts, the launch is coming out in that same window.
Yeah, launch is close. I'm not surprised that T200 had a little bit more early launch, but the peak height was a little bit higher with T300 if you look at the overall table view, which I think was presented well in the data. And if you look at the shaping chart at the top, it's very obvious that it's not that far off, but it is still a little bit of a difference. Is there anything else that really stood out to you about the 2 heads? I would say, for me, I was a little bit more comfortable with the 2, but the performance off the 3, even though I didn't hit my best shots, was absolutely there.
Yeah, and I think if we look at this, you can see the red circle up there that represents the dispersion of the T300. We had some mishits in there,
Yep.
and that circle is still pretty tight. That's part of that technology shining through.
Yeah, again, I'm really curious to know out there, especially for those who are a big fan of the T series, are you looking to blend these? Are you looking to combo? Do you think the idea that there is a transition, especially in the T3 at that 7-iron, is that enough for you? What's your plan? Again, leave us some comments here. Let us know your thoughts about this video overall, and give us a like if you enjoyed it, as well as subscribe if you are looking for additional content. We do have a lot of videos out there that we hope you enjoy.